Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's Wednesday, January the 5th, 2022. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul. And today we're going to be discussing the beauty of being thoughtless with my guardian angel John. And before we get into that, I just want to remind everybody on this Friday, January the 7th, at 10 a.m. on Shortcuts for Your Soul, we will be discussing restoration of your temple, the restoration of your temple, which is your body, the restoration of your body, with Archangel Raphael. And he asked me to put in brackets, resurrecting the dead, around this concept of restoring your temple. Also, I want to remind everybody for this Saturday, for those of you that have not registered, our Mediumship 103 program begins this Saturday, and you're welcome to sign up at my website, williammichaelforbes.com. We have so much happening on this planet. I mean, the ascension energies are so intense. I'm getting emails and messages from people having brain fog and feeling fatigue and tired. And I say the same thing over and over again. Get the vibrational energy in your body that it needs. In other words, provide your body with the living energy that it needs. Raw food, apples, oranges, fresh vegetables, fresh greens, smoothies, anything that gives your body more life. That includes movement, getting your body moving around, exercising it, going out and grounding, getting fresh air and sunshine. Your body has fundamental needs that especially during these ascension energies, when its frequency is being raised up, we're being bombarded with higher frequencies. It's so important to be able to know how to put life into the body as frequently and as often as you can. Good morning, everybody. We're just going to give people a chance to come on here. So yeah, I went through about a 24-hour period of brain fog, which was a very unusual thing for my body. And I just increased the amount of greens drinks I was having and lemon water, things that promote electrical conductivity in the body, which greens drinks tend to do. Let's see here. There we go. We are over here. Now, when my guardian angel John said it's important to understand the power of being thoughtless, the power of being thoughtless. Good morning, everybody. The power of being thoughtless isn't about not caring. It's not about not having thoughts. It's about the power that you have as a soul when you're not restricted or limited to certain thoughts, patterns of thoughts, or historical thoughts, or future considerations. There is a freedom in liberating yourself from your attachment to thoughts. Most of your thoughts aren't even yours. Most of your thoughts aren't even yours. They were given to you by the environment. And a lot of people are confused when they hear, well, what would happen if I gave up all my thoughts? Who would I be? Well, the question is, who would you be if you gave up your thoughts? You wouldn't be who you are, or at least who you think you are right now. But I can assure you that from the perspective of awareness, you do not require thought in order to know that you exist and in order to know your relationship with other aspects of life. From the perspective of awareness, there is a degree of consciousness that allows you to have greater intimacy in living than you do with the fragmentation of thought that occurs when you are bound by them. The example he's giving me right now, he's saying if you look at a beach and you look at all the grains of sand on a beach, and then you only pick one grain of sand on the beach. You got this whole beach of sand, and you pick but one grain, and you're looking at that one grain. He says that's what most people do in life. They get stuck in their little thoughts, and they look at this little thought, and that little thought, and that little thought. Oh, and this memory, and this future consideration. He says there's a whole infinite possibility of life available to you if you could learn to let go of your attachment to thoughts, to become thoughtless, to have less thought. is to push you into a place of consciousness that enables you to select and choose ideas and information that would be most beneficial to you. It's interesting, it's like you go to a beach and you look at all those grains of sand and you cannot count them all. He says you cannot know all the grains of sand, but you can look at it and know that it's a beach. He's just saying that you wouldn't even need to know it was a beach to know that it is good or to know that it is bad. You don't need to have thoughts to know if something is good or bad, because you can experience the energy of something that is good or bad. Positive, negative, something you will be drawn to or something you'll be moved away from. It's important you understand that. You do not require thought to know the difference between good and bad. Good and bad. Right or wrong. You do not need thoughts, because you do know this. Even little children know what causes them discomfort and joy. Your children do not need language to know that something feels good and something feels bad. You do not need to have thought to know what is good, to know what is bad. You are able to know. But if you are captivated or captured by a certain thought or a group of thoughts, it restricts your spiritual sight from knowing more beyond what you observe. Your spiritual eye can be blinded by thought. If you are able to relinquish thought that does not cause you to become less aware, it causes you to become more aware. If you relinquish your attachment to thought, you become more aware. You can even become more aware of more thought, which of course would still restrict you to the thoughts that you become aware of, but you're not restricted or bound by them in the perspective of awareness. You can be aware of thought. And there's a distinction between the thought and you as awareness. Can you imagine if you could surrender your thought, just simply be aware of them and realize they're just thoughts that I'm aware of, they are not who I am? Can you imagine how much peace you could restore to your mind and your heart and your body if you could simply say that thought is not who I am? That memory is not who I am. To be able to be aware that you are awareness independent of your thought, then it is a very good thing to become thoughtless, for then you will know who you are. For the thoughts that you have do not define what you are. What you are can define what thoughts you have, though. Please understand the distinction between that. The time for you to free yourself from thought is now. Right this moment. In any moment, you are aware of a thought. There is you, the awareness, and you, the thought. Which are you? Are you the thought, or are you the awareness? The moment you decide you are one or the other, you become one or the other. The moment you decide, I am not that thought, I am aware of that thought, then you, the observer of that thought, is something different than the thought itself is. Consider this. Consider then, you move a step closer to knowing thyself when you move away from thought. You move a step closer to knowing yourself when you move away from the thoughts in your mind. So if you have thoughts in your mind that are not good or feel uncomfortable, then it's a good thing to be able to recognize that that's not who you are. If you have a judgment in your mind that's not even yours, that somebody gave to you, then it's very good for you to be able to step outside of that, is it not? Be able to step back from your thought and realize that thought is just a thought. It is not who I am. Does that not offer you peace to know that that thought is not you? It's simply information that is stored in that biological entity that you inhabit. Does that not offer you more peace to know that your thoughts are not who you are? To become thoughtless is to become free, not to become inconsiderate or disrespectful. In fact, when you relinquish your attachment to thought, your capacity for kindness and love and compassion expand significantly, for you have a deeper awareness of being, a deeper awareness of feeling, a deeper awareness of love. Thought fragments your awareness into many shards which is why so many of you struggling with what you call mental considerations struggle, not because there's something wrong with you, but because a part of you is attached to believing that the thoughts that are going through your mind are who you are, and they are not who you are. They are information, much of which isn't even yours, much of which you've received from your televisions and your radios and your books and your newspapers and people around you who have given you their thoughts about what they think something is or is not. And you accept that thought. If you believe that thought, then you're bound by that thought and the experience of that thought. But the moment you realize that thought is not who I am, that thought came from my mother, that thought came from my father, that thought came from the newspaper, that thought came from the radio, that thought came from there. And you realize those thoughts are not even who I am. And the moment you do this, you begin a process of liberation, from what the world has made you believe you are supposed to be into that which you are. You begin to get a glimpse of something other than the thoughts that are in your own mind. You become aware, independent of your thought. And there is peace when you are independent of your thought, when you are awareness observing your thought. There is a peace in that place of observance where you realize that thought is not who I am. That thought is not who I am. Even the name that you have is not really who you are. Simply the label that was given to that container by the environment when it came into this world. But it is not who you are. And if you begin to explore the possibility of who you are, independent of who you believe you are, you become thoughtless. You will begin to discover and know who you really are. You begin to discover and know who you really are as a being, as an entity, as a consciousness that came into this flesh to create, to express, to experience, and to have choice over experience, to have choice over creation, not simply to be on a ride that you have no control over, which so many of you are experiencing right now, that you think you have no control over this ride that you're on. But that is only because you believe that the thoughts in your head are essentially the nature of who you are, and that's not true. You are a divine soul. You are a divine soul in that form right now, hearing these words, which are just words, but there's a vibration of truth and energy. There are vibrations of falsity in words, in ideas. There is that which is true and there's that which is false. And you can feel vibrationally that which is true and that which is false. And if from our understanding that you are love, your true nature is that you are love as a being, then most of what you have been taught to believe about your life in this world is not of love. Most of what you've been taught to believe, especially in these last few years, much of what you've been taught to believe about this world is to be afraid, to be fearful, to be uncertain. Most of you have been taught this and told this is what you have to be, but that is just a thought that somebody has offered you. You do not have to accept that thought. What if there was nothing to be afraid of? What if we offered you that thought, that you have nothing to be afraid of, that the world is a beautiful, remarkable, dynamic place for your creative self-expression? What if you had those thoughts in your mind? Would your being change? Yes, your being would change based on the interpretation you have of what that thought or group of thoughts means. But you as the awareness are still independent of either thoughts, whether they are true or false. Whether they are true or false, you are still neither. You are not your thoughts or the thoughts of others that have been given to you. You are awareness. You are soul. You are consciousness. You are an extension of love manifested as form. And you have the ability as an awareness to make a distinction between the physical mechanism that you utilize in your creative expression in this physical dimension. Likewise, you also have the ability to be aware of your thoughts as non-physical substance that affects the physical world. To be aware that you are not those thoughts, and therefore change the role and nature of your effect in creating the life that you experience in this world. simply by being able to recognize that you can select and choose thoughts. You can accept and refuse thoughts. You can create new thoughts that are yours. My simple goal in stating that it is important for you to become thoughtless, to become free, to become love, to become joy, is not to become disrespectful, for that is how many of you interpret the concept of being thoughtless. But in this context, thoughtless means making the distinction between that which you are as a divine extension of infinite love in a material medium versus a physical body, a collection of thoughts, but recognizing that's not who you are and realizing the freedom that you have at your disposal to relinquish your attachment to thoughts, to see the whole beach and not simply a grain of sand. And every thought that you think can do this to you. It can limit you to the nature of that one thought. But in truth, you can never be limited. You can have the illusion of limitation by the nature of your perception, but you cannot ever lose the nature of what you are as a sentient soul, a divine expression of love in a material medium of expression. And your mind, which is invisible to your senses, but not invisible to your awareness. Is that not fascinating? That your mind is invisible to your senses, but not invisible to your awareness, because you are not a physical entity. You are utilizing a physical mechanism that gives you the appearance of being a physical entity. And your thought is invisible. You don't even see it with your eyes or hear it with your ears, but you are aware that it is there. It is invisible, but it is causative to this physical dimension in which you find yourself. In this physical dimension, thought is causative. In the realm of awareness, you are causative to thought. But many of you must learn how to become unsubjugated, no longer subjective to the thoughts in your mind. You must learn to become conscious and aware that you are the thinker, not your thoughts. You are the awareness. You are the awareness of thought. You are the awareness of emotion. You are not emotion. You are not thought. You are not body. You are the awareness of these things. It is true. Can you not be aware of your body and the space that your body occupies in this moment? Can you not be aware of the thoughts or memories you have going through your mind? You can pause and look inside and considerations that are coming. Can you not be aware of that? That is because you are aware of them. You are not them. So you can be aware of this physical world. You can be aware of this invisible world of thought. You can be aware of this invisible world of emotion. Because a lot of people cannot show their emotions. They hide them. But they're aware of them because they too are invisible. Emotion is the substance of energy that you utilize to manipulate and construct matter into your experiences. But that is not what I came to discuss with you today. I came simply to discuss that the importance of becoming thoughtless, to have less thought, to become more aware, is the purpose of my discussion today. To become thoughtless so that you become more aware of you as a consciousness that functions independent of thought, and that you no longer have to be bound by thought, nor fear, nor doubt, nor guilt, nor shame. For you are not those things, but you are the awareness of those things. But do not mistake those things for your awareness. Because you are aware of sadness does not mean that you are sadness. Just because you're aware of anger does not mean that you are angry. It means you are aware of them. But if you become entrenched in them, if you believe the thoughts and emotions are your source of identity, then you will be bound by thought. You'll be bound by emotion to do and say certain things. But as awareness, you are not. As awareness, you are not bound by your thoughts, nor your emotions. You can be aware of that emotion. You can be aware of that thought. And in that place of thoughtlessness, you become more aware. And with greater awareness, compassion, love, joy, playfulness can be engaged more deliberately and consciously and intentionally. You have this choice to become thoughtless. Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. So yeah, this whole, I'm getting goosebumps all through me because this concept of being thoughtless, is just so inspiring for me personally. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, John will take some questions from you guys now. And good morning, Manoj. Good morning, Vertical. Hello, Faradiba. Hi, everybody. Question from Drusilla. Who was my visitor last night? What was the message? All I'm getting, I'm just getting a hands up. The word surrender. Again, who is this? The message has to do with surrender, and I don't know what it means, what you're supposed to surrender. I just know that that's the vibration that's being transmitted. That surrender, whatever it is you're supposed to surrender, let go. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. Surrender means letting something go from these beings. When they usually talk like that, it usually means about letting something go that no longer serves you. So I don't know what that is, but I'm sure you do. Thank you for that question. Question from Daniela. Feral children have no thoughts, I assume. Do they completely lack awareness and choice and only explore their senses through their natural environment? Great question. Wow, he's excited about this question, Daniel. He's saying that in this case, you must understand that there is no discrimination nor judgment of a negative nature for one's expression. What you call feral children are these children that have been engaged in an environment where their consciousness reflects only upon a certain level of consciousness. There's no need to move beyond that. There's no impetus to change or evolve beyond the conditions of their experience. They do not require thought. They default to the experience of matter. Thought is unique and distinct to your soul. But these feral children have come to experience and re-experience the nature of their physical expression independent of thought. They've come to understand more deeply the experience of being animal, not being human. This is what feral children do. They become the expression of animal to learn the experience of animal. As many of you that are listening have done already. You have the experience of being animal as body, but you also now have the experience of being aware of thought, this other element of consciousness. But you also have this other degree of awareness, many of you, this ability to be aware of your thought, which is another extension of humanity beyond form. Understand your awareness is not bound by time, space, or matter, but works through it. There are those of you that have evolved your consciousness to this place where you are now saying, I am the thinker, I am not my thoughts. But these dear little ones are there experiencing their animal nature more fully, more viscerally, more completely. But at any time, if they choose, that soul may elevate itself up or be exposing itself to things that then create the second level, which is consciousness in the form of thought. So there's the biology of being, there's the thought of mind, of creation. There is the awareness of consciousness. There is the divinity of self above that. And those of you that are hearing these words are in a position where you're now examining thought. You're examining emotion. You are at that pinnacle of consciousness where you're making a distinction between what you are and what you are not. And in that process, you begin to articulate a different capability in creation. That dear child in that role is very limited in its respects to its ability to create or change or alter time, space, or matter. You have far fewer limitations in that regard because of the nature of your consciousness and what you've evolved it to. Great question, Daniela. Question from Manoj. How can we reach a level of awareness when we are able to move physical objects with our mind only? What practices should we do and how long will it take? Great question, Manoj. He's saying once you come to the understanding of who you are and your relationship Overthought and matter begins to assert an effect in its expression. The intensity of consciousness required to organize matter, for example, the organization of your hand opening and closing, is the movement of an object with the mind of this body. The thought in this body allows this process to happen. It is well established. You are speaking of objects outside the body, such as these glasses, or these pens, or other objects around you. When you recognize that they are not separate from you, when you realize your connection to them, then the effect in asserting an influence of consciousness that would direct their movement in time and space becomes possible, because you recognize the connection you have with them, much the same as you recognize the connection in the physical structure of the biological entity of this hand. You recognize that connection between the entities, so you're able to easily move it. When you recognize that that same connection exists between you and all other objects, the same relationship can be established, in that you can then move the car, or move the plane, or move the house, or even a mountain. But very few of you have that comprehension of understanding that the relationship you have with that biological entity in which you find yourself and all other things is equal. That there is no separateness, that there is no separation between anything from that perspective of awareness. And so when you've cultivated that understanding, that knowledge that you are not separate from that light, you're not separate from that curtain, you're not separate from that tree or plant, then the relationship and influence that you have over time, space, and matter becomes broader than just being localized to the confines of that physical entity in which you find yourself. And that takes a great deal of practice for you to come to that understanding, that whether it is attached to your body or not attached to your body, that you are not separate from it regardless. Attachment or unattachment from a physical perspective is one thing, but in consciousness, there is no separation. In consciousness, in awareness, there is no separation. Wow. Great question, Manoj. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Question from Vertical. I applied for a well-paid job last year and they declined. Now they are offering it. I could consider it even for a brief time until my side job, dream job of guidance. I don't know who this is, but they're laughing. They're laughing right now. They're very feminine. It's a very female energy. And she's saying, why would you deny yourself your own creation? What did it matter that came yesterday or today? Does it not please you? Does it not please you at all? Yeah. The other will come. But be willing to accept what you have created. Be willing to accept what you have created. Yeah. She's been trying to push you forward with this for a while, but go into it. Go into it. Watch what happens. The next step will appear. Question from Marjorie. Why is Jesus and God visiting me in every way possible? Wow. Thank you. I'm getting massive goosebumps because you're ready. You're ready to align to your purpose, to offer your light to wherever you go, to offer your light wherever you go. Yeah. Allow the downloads to happen. Like when you're present with them, be more in the receiving mode. Be more in the receiving mode. Again, what I'm being told is that it's important you allow your cup to be filled. Allow yourself to be filled. Spend less time trying to figure out why they keep coming to you. They're saying they're never not with you. They're never not with anybody. God and Master Jesus are with everyone in the same moment of time and space. But it's given to you to become aware of that, to allow that light to come into thee that could shine upon others. To allow that light to come into thee. And really letting your cup be filled, Marjorie. Like let your cup be filled. Yeah, what a blessing. A lot of people are aware of their presence, but a lot of people aren't willing to allow the change. Yeah, what John is saying, he's saying this process of becoming thoughtless will be very helpful for you in this. Becoming thoughtless in this process will become very helpful for you. When they are present with you, do not have much thought about what they are doing or not doing. Simply be present with them. Receive and be filled. Receive and be filled. Receive and be filled. Wow. Thank you, Marjorie. Appreciate that. Question from Michelle. Is there any advice regarding the missing money in my house? Be ready to receive. Do not be focused on what you think is lost, but be prepared to receive that which is being offered. That's what's coming through. Be prepared to receive what is being offered. Do not be focused on what you think is lost. Be prepared to receive what is being offered. And again, I don't know what that means or what that's in reference to, but that's what I'm getting told. That be open to receiving what is being offered. And again, I don't know what that is, but that's what's coming through. Be open to receiving what is being offered rather than being focused on what you think is lost or missing. Be open to receiving what is being offered. Again, I don't know what that's in reference to, but become open to receiving as opposed to thinking you lost something. That's my paraphrasing of what was just said. Just be open to receiving. I love it. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it, Michelle. Question from Anthony. I think I have been channeling an entity or spirit. Can you tell me who it is? He says to listen closely in the listen closely in the right ear. Listen closely in the right ear when I am present in your consciousness. And by this, I mean when you are conscious of my presence. Listen carefully in your right ear. Do you mean the physical right ear? Yes. Yes. Can you define who you are? No, not at this time. So yeah. So Anthony, when beautiful being though, their energy is very penetrating and gentle and kind. You can expect to download a love from this being for sure. But remember to do this when you feel their presence, when you're conscious of it. Listen carefully to the right ear. Listen to what comes there. Again, it will be what it is for you. But like be ready to receive this energy. It could be words, it could be a vibration, but listen to the right ear. I don't know why they're saying the right ear, but they're saying listen to the right ear when they come to your presence. Remember to do that. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll take one more question for the day from SJK. Yes. Yes and yes. Rejoice. Bring not but your joy to this one. Bring not but your joy to this one. Even in your thoughts, in this question, in this moment, do not offer your uncertainty to them. Offer your joy to them. The words coming through, praise them. Praise their light. Praise their light, for they will be going to their Father. Praise their light. They're going to their Father. Praise their light. That's just what keeps being repeated. Praise their light. Wow. It's people making transitions. If people understood that people don't die, the body ceases to become a medium of expression for that individual. It changes our whole conception of what reality is. When you realize the body is simply an instrument that you express through, it makes things so much simpler. I want to thank you guys for your questions and your support, and thank you, Drusilla, for that super chat today. I really appreciate it. If you want to support this channel, you can do so through my Patreon page, patreon.com/William Michael Forbes. Patrons, you should have received the email today through your email on the event this Friday for patrons only at 7 p.m. on Friday. I'm really excited about that. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that. It's called Awaken from Your Sleep. Awaken from Your Sleep, and that's going to be this Friday for patrons only, Friday evening. And on Friday, Shortcuts for the Soul, we've got Restore Your Temple with Archangel Raphael. So Raphael will be coming in on Friday, and he told me to write in brackets underneath it, Resurrecting the Dead, Restore Your Temple, Resurrecting the Dead. So I'm excited about that this Friday, 10 a.m. on Shortcuts for the Soul. And again, we will be resuming our meditation periods on this Saturday at 10 a.m. I'm looking forward to that. For those of you that want to enroll in the Mediumship 103 program, you can please do so through my website. Repeat students, only $99 for the full 3-week course. So again, have yourselves a joyful day. And again, thank you. I want to thank John. I want to thank the other beings that came through today. And much love to all of you. And thank you for your support, your time, your patience. And much love to all of you. Have a wonderful and a joyful day. Bye-bye.